Welcome back to In Jane's Vineyard Kitchen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the comments that I'm getting. It's hysterical. Every time that we send out a new episode or I talk about this great journey that I'm on for fun and just for the love of food and wine and friends say, hey, come on, you got to talk wine. So I have to say I cook a lot with wine, and certainly when I'm cooking with you and cooking for you, it's generally early morning. So I can't necessarily be drinking then. And there are perfect pairings, and then there are pairings that I would ordinarily say if you love it, drink it. But today I am going to use last night's Merlot. We didn't finish the bottle, Dave and I, so I'm going to use a cup and a half of that in my beautiful lasagna. So this lasagna, the story of the lasagna, I think it was the first proper meal I ever made, and I was given the recipe by my mum-in-law on my first marriage. So here goes, in honor of Innie. A beautiful lasagna homemade, and the ingredients are as follows. Beautiful finely chopped onion. I like to use 2 brown onions, 3 to 4 garlic cloves slightly chopped. I like to use a good chopped pureed tin of tomato. I love a fresh tomato component in. 1 kilogram of lean beef mince. Absolutely, you've got to use wine, and I do believe that if you're going to make beautiful food, you need good wine. So our Stella Kai Merlot is on the table. Salt and pepper to taste. And the trick that she taught me was 1 tablespoon or teaspoon, depending on how you sweeten this you like, is to use a little bit of brown sugar. The spices that I'm going to throw in are also going to be oregano and mixed herbs. So I'm going to add those in, and when we actually layer this beautiful meat component together with a beautiful rich cheese sauce, we're going to use a beautiful egg-based lasagna sheet, which is absolutely divine. But however, let's start with the food. Let's start with the basic and the most important, our meat sauce. Because if you don't get the meat sauce right, your lasagna can be a disaster. I look forward to sharing this with you. Enjoy. Okay, so let's start the process. We're going to start with sautéing the 2 beautiful onions in a bit of olive oil. And you need to be gentle with this. You've got to be really, really careful that you don't burn the onion. As they get glossy and softer and richer in smell, you'll know it's time to add the garlic. Garlic also can burn really, really easily, so go gently. And I think, for me, the most important part in baking this beautiful meat sauce is ensuring when you add the mince into the garlic and the onion that you brown this mince and you're allowed to cook thoroughly before you add any other component in. I find that if the meat be raw at a time of adding in your herbs and all the other components, the tomato, etc., you will find that there's a variable in taste. So I do like that the fact that the meat is well cooked. Once the meat is cooked, I like to put in my tomato puree. I like to put the chopped tomato in, a beautiful cup of red wine. I like to dissolve a cube of chicken stock into boiling water, just a little small portion, about 50 mils, allow it to dilute and add that in together with my herbs, and then I let it all simmer. And I like it to simmer for a good half an hour on the stove at a low heat, just so these beautiful juices can engage and it can settle. And you'll find that certainly if you give it that time and you slow cook the process of this beef, or ground beef as it's known in the States, it is just beautiful to work with. Okay, so now we're going to make a beautiful cheese sauce. Not stodgy, but light and fluffy and beautifully flavoursome. We're going to take about 50 to 60 grams of butter. You don't want to cook the butter, you just want it to melt. You will then add in 2 or 3 heaped teaspoons of mezzina or flour. Use the whisk, and you slowly will cream in this beautiful flour or mezzina component together with the butter. Once that is in play, you will then start adding the milk. You'll put about 500 milliliters, half a liter of milk into your bowl. Put this into the microwave, allow it to cook for 2 minutes, take it out, swirl it around again, put it back in until you get that density of thickness that you understand is a component that's going to hold. And what I mean hold, it's in other words not runny, it's just a little bit more firm. And then you're going to add a good handful of mature cheddar cheese, salt and pepper to taste. Whisk in again the cheese so it dissolves into the sauce, and set aside so you're nearly ready to start your layering process of your beautiful lasagna. So now we're going to layer this beautiful lasagna, and what's really important is that you just coat the base of your casserole dish. I like to just take 3 or 4 tablespoons, place them in the casserole dish, and you'll see I'll just then we're going to take our sheets of lasagna and place them in the base of the dish. And we're going to now do this 3 times together with the beautiful meat sauce that we've created. And important, we want those juices because the juices will soften the pasta and allow it to cook. So important, mix it when you know you've taken it off the oven, or off the oven, off the stove, and then place dollops of beautiful meat sauce on the lasagna sheets. You'll take your next 3 sheets and you'll layer on top of that. Make sure all the corners are covered. Take your beautiful, beautiful mature cheddar. Finally, put it in the oven and we'll bake it at 160 degrees Celsius for a good 40 minutes. Beautiful lasagna, but it needs to rest a little bit and cool down before we serve and plate it. So we're just going to put it to the side, let it cool down. I'm going to put together a little bread or something together and we'll sample and taste. Cannot wait. Okay, so our lasagna is beautifully cooled down and we're now going to plate it and taste it. So it makes it easier. Just cut it into squares, go through the lasagna sheets. Just enables you to lift it so much easier. And I have to say, this is a very well loved and received family dish at home as well. Between Gabrielle and Devon, they tend to ask for it, which is great. Let's just take it and plate it. Okay, so you've got to taste. You've got to taste what you make. Pasta is al dente, it's beautiful. The flavor of the beef is just very, very rich in tomato. So, with tomato. So yeah, most of you are going to say, so come on Janie, what wine would you serve? Ordinarily with a tomato-based component, I would have said the Sangiovese, the Hercules. Just because of its savory component, the leanness, the acidity factor, would take the fat component here between the cheese and the meat and leave your palate very, very fresh. But if you want something rich with flavor, it's cooler today. I think I'm going to have a glass of Malbec. I think that will be the pairing that I'll post on for today. Enjoy everybody. Ciao.